Welcome, viewers. This is A Vision Media Broadcast. Once again, we have another special show, and this time we're taking it to the Bay Area, where we have CMG, Carla Green. I don't want to say your government name, but CMG, the Conscious Daughters.
Everybody call me Carla. It's weird, but yeah.
Carla, CMG, you are here. She's from the Bay Area, the Conscious Daughter. They had the debut album was Aired to the Streets. Am I correct?
Yep.
In 1993.
Correct.
Then 1996, it was Gamers, right?
Correct.
Here is she. This is Carla. I like to say CMG from the Conscious Daughter. How are you? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I just want to add to that little discography. In 2009, we dropped the Nutcracker Suite.
The Nutcracker Suite. Yeah, I know.
And then in 2011, I did a solo album called The Jane of All Trades as well. A lot of people don't know about that because especially one had passed right around the time when I released it, and it just kind of never went anywhere. I just didn't feel it. Yeah. I just kind of fell off for a while, but that's out there. So I just want to share that.
Okay, well, but dope, and I have that. I was going to go until that. I have it all here. I was going to just feed them a little bit.
Okay.
But and that's wonderful. And like I said, you're from the Bay Area. You both grew up there, right? Correct.
Yep.
How was
the
it?
Bay Area. We lived. The thing about the Bay is like the cities are this big. So you drive 5 miles. You're in Oakland 1 minute. Drive 5 miles. You're in Berkeley. Drive 5 miles. You're in San Angelo. So we've lived all across the Bay: Oakland, Richmond, Emeryville, Berkeley. So just Bay Area natives, born and raised. Carryl was actually born in Seattle, but she moved here when she was about, I think, 6 or 7. 6.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yep. So, but we met when we were like 11, somewhere in there.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask, can you take me back to how was it growing up in the Bay Area? Let's start.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. It, mind you, this is the home of the happy people, all the hippies. It was back when everybody, all the parents were just smoking weed. It was a lot of flower love and dancing around mixed races, and just it was we had the Panthers. It was a powerful place to be, to grow up. I'm just now that I look back, I'm so rooted by everything that I learned living here. It's amazing. Who knew that I would grow up to work with one of the greatest militant rappers that ever lived, Paris, you know what I mean? The Black Panther of hip hop, who would discover us and put us out. And, he gave us even like further teachings about being Black in America and just being a woman, being a Black woman. I learned so much from him. We can get into that story, but yeah, the whole Bay Area is just a beautiful place, and the weather's always been great. So we never had any hurricanes or we never had any disasters like that. Wow, we get some flooding and every once in a while, but it's mostly sunny and happy around here in the Bay, and our parents was always happy because they was always high. Who knows?
Wow, so this nice and calm. It was always nice and calm in the Bay.
That's right. Yeah, happy life.
Happy life in the Bay Area. And since you mentioned Paris, the Black Panther, Paris have the Devil Made Me Do It, the Gorilla Funk. Like, he had a bunch of songs out there too back then.
Yeah, he had Sleeping with the Enemy, which was a really big album. The Devil Made Me Do It. His label was called Gorilla Funk now, but when we first signed with him, it was Scarface Records. Yeah. Not to be confused with Scarface the Great rapper, but he had originally Paris had signed to Tommy Boy, which was a New York record label. He was on Tommy Boy for a while before he started his own label, which was called Scarface, and he would meet us. We would end up meeting him, and he would eventually put us out on his label Scarface.
Okay, Scarface.
Distributed by Priority Records.
Yeah, that's right, Priority. Can't forget that, because I remember seeing the label, on some of his albums.
Eventually Priority bought us out. Bought us from him, but we still work together. There was nothing really changed except the ownership, and we got more money.
Okay, well, cool.
So that was a good thing.
Yeah, and with Paris, how exactly did you all come together? Because I know he taught you a whole lot. You and your partner, exactly, right? A whole lot.
He taught us a whole lot. he wrote a lot of lyrics and
Yeah.
gave us, ideas. He molded us. I mean, he was a great teacher, and he's a great brother and just a good man. Period. To
Okay.
have. But the way we met him was in the early '90s. We attended a album release party that was given by Digital Underground.
Okay.
And in the Bay, we all hang out together. Money B and the Conscious Daughters, and all the artists that come from the Bay, we were all coming up together. So
Okay.
I always emphasize on that, because when we see each other, it's just such a great thing,
Boy, that's
to be
wonderful.
able to know all these wonderful artists that come out of the Bay. But we met him at the Digital Underground album release party, and we
Uh-huh.
went in there. We had on Conscious Daughter jackets and
Uh-huh.
Conscious Daughters hats.
The hats.
We went to the mall and got our little stuff put on our jackets and our hats. And when he saw Conscious, that's what really grabbed him. He's like, Conscious? What they conscious about? Because he's the real, he's really conscious and super
Yeah.
smart,
Hmm.
highly educated,
Hmm.
all these things. And here we are, we get 40 ounces and, smoking weed, talking about we're Conscious Daughters. So that's
Yeah.
what really drew him to come and find out, who we were. And we had cassette tapes that we would carry around with our phone number. When you write your name on it, put your phone number on there. Here's our demo tape.
Yeah.
Please listen
Yeah.
to my demo. Please,
Yeah.
please listen
Right.
to my demo.
Them out.
So we gave him a demo tape and with our phone number, and he actually called us. We was like, oh my God. He
Wow. So
called us. Yeah.
from that tape, he gave you a call from
Yep.
from the demo.
Yeah. He
Now,
called us and said, I love your raps. The beats are whack, but I
yeah.
love your rhymes, and I would love to produce this, some music with
Wow.
you.
Wow. Wow.
So he basically, just took us and ran with it. He was so smart about it,
Uh-huh.
because he really sent messages through us. You know what I mean? Like we weren't writing all of the things that was all positivity. We was just trying to have a good time in a party.
That's right.
But what a messenger vehicle, for women, black people, for him to use,
Yeah.
and the genius. I look back now, I see how genius it was. Back
Hmm.
then, it was just a good time. It was happening. When something's happening, you don't really grasp on what's really happening. You're just
Yeah.
ready to go, 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 go,
That's
and
right.
that's what we did. But yeah, that's how we met.
Wow. And I found out in the Bay Area, you have rappers like Sugar T, E40, D Shot, Be Legit, The Loonies, Oak Town 357. Were everybody connected together? Like, how cool were y'all as rappers? Like, all together.
Congress Daughters was friends with everybody.
Good.
So I mean, we got songs with Forte. We would hang out with rapping Forte,
Okay, yeah,
Mac
rappers for
Ma,
thing.
Hyro.
High roll. Okay.
A plus used to live next door to one of my best friends, Mystic. She's
Yeah.
an artist from out here.
Okay.
That's like my sister.
Hmm.
I'm really close with Sugar T. We got Marvelous and Sibo out here. Like we have been around all of the artists that came out of the Bay Area, and we all know each other, which is makes us so cool. Even with Short and 40, and just watching everybody come up was just amazing how we all made it, and everybody had their own little independent record labels. And then
Yeah.
that's when all the executives started looking at the Bay like the Bay is popping. They
Wow.
out there making that money. Let's go get it. That's when they started locking us into these. They tried to lock us into those contracts and stuff. But
Hmm.
it was a great place to grow up with all the artists that came out, Digital Underground and
Yeah.
Shock G and Money B, and it was just a great time for sure.
Did it take a long time for rappers, for artists in the Bay Area to really get exposed by other places? Like, just because I know it took a long. In New York, I guess they started their thing, and then Philly, where I'm at, we started. Was it a little? Was it late for the Bay Area to get their props? You know.
Yeah, and we still just barely got them. Like it's like um there's all of the group. The thing about the Bay is we all had our own labels. We were all doing our own thing, and we were all able to make money and live and be happy with the money that
Independent, independent, right?
independent record labels.
Yeah.
So once the record labels came and got us and exposed us, then we became nationwide.
Okay.
Like with Too Short with Jive, and then E40 Sick with It, and then when he got on connected with Jive, then we were more mainstream. I hate to say it was like that.
Yeah.
But with the Conscious Daughters, Priority really, really, really put us on the road. Like they said, okay, you're going to the William Morris Agency, Carryl Lewis, who's like one of the best agents in the whole hip hop community. And she put us on the road with Outkast and Tribe Called Quest and Ice Cube, and
Wow.
we were just out. So we got that exposure in New York. We went to New York. We got love in New York. Like, um, the radio DJs would be like, man, probably I never seen nobody push no West Coast music like Priority pushing on us. It's like
That's
they
right.
push y'all real well. We got
Hmm.
compliments about how good our promotion and marketing teams were. So I think that they really wanted to take us far. I mean, they gave us billboards, and they spent a lot of money on blowing us up. And not to say that it didn't happen for anybody else, but it took a lot
Hmm.
to get that recognition where everybody knows Kansas Daughters.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was a lot. So, and I still think it's lacking. You don't hear, you look at Too Short. Like he's just now, him and E4, they just now got on the Grammys and stuff. They should have been doing that stuff.
Yeah. Yep. It took a
So
while.
successful, but we've just been overlooked forever, and we're kind of used to it.
Hmm.
Even as conscious daughters, we've never, when we started, we were just like, man, they don't ever include us. We just got used to, we just didn't expect it.
So
So whenever
basically, yeah.
we were just like, here, we're gonna rip these mics real quick and then we'll be out. And just like, kind of it was like an attitude thing, but it really wasn't, because we loved what we were doing. But
Yeah.
we were like, we going to New York, we finna show these bitches how, like we got these little attitudes when we went up in there, because when you're young, you just be
Yeah.
talking, smack and stuff. So, but at the same time, people just loved us. And Carol Smith, special one, she just was such a great personality.
Hmm.
When people would meet her, she would just they just loved her. She was just so easy. Carol be in the airport talking to old 89-year-old men for like 20 minutes. I'm like, what are they talking
Because she
about?
had a wonderful personality. She was a people
Yes,
person.
wonderful personality. Just
Yeah.
from kids to elder people to any culture,
Hmm.
anything. You don't speak English, or she's gonna talk to you and figure it out. It's just she was just such a great spirit. God needed her ASAP. She had work to do elsewhere because, yeah, she is amazing. And she's really the reason why we are who we are, because I'm a little more introverted.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, when she just said, here, see it, throw me the mic, I'm like, oh, I had to get busy. So, yeah, and we're best friends, and that really helped a lot with the chemistry. We would have little spats, and then the next morning be like, what you doing? What time we leaving?
Yeah. It's
Because we were sisters,
That's
and
right. Yeah.
there was no like we're leaving each other, or I'm leaving the group or anything like that. Nothing ever came out. Even when we had knockdown fallout fights over, I can't even remember what. Well, I would forget the next day anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. At what year did she actually pass away? What year?
2011,
In 2011. That's right.
December. Well, December 10th is the day, but we think she passed on like the 9th. She was
Oh,
found
like
on the 10th, but
oh, like
yeah,
okay. Okay.
yeah, she had a blood clot hit her lung from her knees. And same thing that happened to Heavy D, when you just collapse.
Yeah,
And,
because he just collapsed. And him
and
and
she didn't feel anything. She didn't suffer any pain or anything. She just kind of just collapsed, and that was it. But
wow, wow.
yeah, but what a beautiful spirit. Like, she's just amazing. She
Yeah.
comes in my dreams. I'll be like, where are we? Where are you taking me? And I wake up and be like, I was with Carol last night.
But you know
You
what's
know?
wonderful too? I'm sorry. What's wonderful is that when you loved each other and you had a great time with that person.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
that's where it kind of eases the pain a little because you know how much of the great times you both had. Some
Yeah.
people, if you don't speak to a person in a long time and then they pass away, you feel really hurt because damn, like, wow, I ain't never try to we ain't make up with each other. But since you know what kind of relationship you had, that's a wonderful thing because you can always
Now, we
talk
have
about it, different stories, and laugh.
a circle of friends. There's about 8 of us. We've been best friends. Some of us went to high school together for over 30 years.
Wow.
And we just have this sense of loyalty. Like, it's really unheard of. We just don't, it's certain things we don't do. Like, none of us slept with anybody else's man. We never stole nothing from each other. None of that has ever happened, and it's just something that you just don't do. The loyalty circle was so strong; it was like a cult.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I'm just saying, like, and I still have those sisters, so we call each other sisters.
yeah.
And even with Karryl, like, just some of the things that she would go on to do in her life, like would become or come out of the closet, for example, was just something that was challenging for her because in such a circle of judgmental kind of people and sisters that she didn't want to let down and stuff like that. But this was back before it was okay,
Hmm.
and that's another situation. But just the loyalty level of us, of she and I, but our whole circle, because there's more conscious daughters. They just don't rap, and actually they do, but they just don't.
Done.
They can.
Yeah.
Um.
Mhm.
So yeah,
And I know. I'm saying, go ahead. What you gonna say?
I'm just saying that's interesting. The loyalty thing has a lot to do with the chemistry that we
Yeah,
had
yeah.
on stage and our sisterhood.
Yes, it is. Yep. And I know we've mentioned Paris, and he kind of helped the group through, just to get to the next step or take it to the next level. What was the group's big break into the music industry? Like, what was it that said, okay, we're here now? What album?
Yeah,
What song was it?
the radio. We were driving down. I want to. I know we were on San Pablo Avenue, which is like a the main street that goes through the whole Bay Area, all from Oakland all the way through like 3, 4, 5 cities. It's this main street. It's like just the main street. We were driving down, and we're just driving and talking. We used to go park by the Lake Merritt,
Yeah.
and sit there and drink 40s and smoke weed and cigarettes and
Hmm.
whatever. Just sitting there doing dumb stuff.
Just
And
hang out, chill out. Hmm.
yeah, just what you did when you were kids. And so we'd take off. Let's go back to the house. I don't know where we were going, but we drove. We came to this stoplight, and all of a sudden, our song came on the radio.
Wow.
And
Who your mind,
both
right?
jumped out the car, put it in park, and started dancing in the street. And it's funny because I was watching the Salt and Pepper movie, and they did exactly the same thing.
Yeah, they did that on the movie. Wow.
And
So
when I saw that, I cried because it just reminded me of us. It was crazy. Yeah, it was definitely that told me, okay, we made it. Then when we got to BET and we did MTV, that was the icing on the cake. So
now it's
yeah,
like, okay,
we're on
we're
TV.
we're here now. We're here now.
Yeah,
It's you know.
yeah.
Wow. And can you name a particular song? And I know y'all have some songs and albums out. Can you name a particular song or album that changed your perspective on hip hop, or just any
Oh, oh. So you're talking to I'm like you, and I would love to sit down and really get to, but I'm a music enthusiast. Like I would go very deep down into some shit that I don't can't even. I don't know how to
yeah?
answer that.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh,
it's
wow.
got to. First of all, if you think change my perspective on it, it's gonna be something in the '80s, and it'll be early '80s at that, because I'm a connoisseur of music. So change my perspective. I'm gonna go with gangster rap
Okay. Cool.
because that was some bomb ass shit, that's when I seen it go from, I said a hip, huh, a hip to the hip, and then all of a sudden this hard rap.
That's
You
right.
know what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
So when the gangster rap came out, because I had already been educated by New York since the '70s, '80s, since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
then Carol's mom, she worked at the radio station, and Karryl grew up in the radio station. So we used to get all the records and the tapes from New York when we were like 10, 11, 12 years old,
Okay.
and play them on her record player that she got for Christmas.
Okay.
So we was playing records from Cutting Records. We was playing, we got Toddy T, Bannerman. We had all that stuff real early. Just
Hmm.
all old school music, Cutting Record stuff, and Island, and all the
Sleeping
Sleeping
Bag.
Bag Records.
Sleeping
And,
Bag Records. Wow.
we had
Mhm.
just 45s, so when to grow up and then have kind of rap become mainstream. But when the gangster rap hit, that changed my life, because I was like, oh, I started speeding in the car. I was like, oh, this, that's when it started making me, act a certain way. It's like, damn,
Yeah,
this
jumping up
next
and
bitch I
down.
gotta worry about, and that was it. So that was it for me. That's the
Yeah,
perfect gangster rap.
that was what changed your perspective on hip hop, right there, the gangster rap.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, changed my perspective. Yeah, because it made me think that there's endless possibilities. Because prior to that, I was trying to sound like everybody else. I wanted to be the real Roxanne and Roxanne Shante and Shy Rock, and that was the kind of style that you copycat. You know what I mean? And
Right.
then as you grow into your own, become your own MC, then you become more creative, but you're still in the same style
That's
of
right.
what you learned from.
That's
But
right.
when the gangster rap came out, I said, "Oh yeah, I'm talking shit now," and that's what changed my perspective on not only what I was doing, because
Mhm.
I wasn't planning on being a rapper. I got a whole career in software development that I
Yeah,
have been doing since I was 20.
that's right.
Working for George Lucas, and worked on the game Tetris, and I did a lot of things.
Hmm.
And so I wasn't no dummy. And my parents looked at me like I was crazy as hell when I could just drop that little cassette tape and said, "Listen to this." They looked at me like, "Who the hell you gonna kill?" My
Yeah,
daddy said, "We gonna get your ass in this house and throw that shit in the trash." But yeah, it was that's definitely what I mean by changing my perspective. It
now
opened up possibility.
it opened up the possibility. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay, great. Now, is there a particular era of hip hop that you feel most connected to?
Yep. It's not the 90s. It's not the 2000s. It's definitely the early 80s.
Early '80s. Okay.
Just because just the 80s, not early. I say early 80s because I loved all the Sugar Hill stuff.
Mhm.
Grandmaster Flash is like amazing. Like I just was into early Tribe Called Quest, all the old school, all mostly New York stuff. Because before, you know, we had Too Short out here, but I didn't get into Too Short till like 89, 8, 7. But I've been listening to hip hop long before that.
Okay.
So I connect with the early 80s, like
Mhm.
some of those things that I told you about, those records that we were getting.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
All that early stuff. Um, and I say early because that's really before the Native Tongues, era, and all the other little eras that came
Yeah.
out in the later 80s.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so that's what I connect with. Criminal Minded, little KRS-One,
Criminal
the
Minded.
BDP,
What
you
about
know,
what about
uh,
Just Ice?
some Just Ice, Latoya,
That's right.
Latoya.
Latoya. That's right.
So yeah, I was in the Just Ice. Man, I just gotta think. I had just met L from the Imperial Brothers, who was a group that we used to have their wax and stuff, and
Mhm.
so that was good. Just all the Roxanne stuff, the Sparky D, Roxanne, the Battle,
That's right. Yeah. That's right. That's
Beat
right.
Street, and all that stuff, and Kumo
Crush
D, and
Groove, Wild
Rush
Style.
Group, Wild Style, and
Yeah. Right.
just
Yeah.
all of that. That's where I really connect to because that was the best time of. That's kind of when I discovered it, and it was that you look at it and be like, wow, it just wowed me out because it was early happening.
Early. That's right. That's right.
It
I
would
love
continue
it.
being there for the rest of my life, but
Mhm.
in the early stages, that's when it was just the real connection for me. That's when I was like, oh, this is great because I was around before rap was. I used to listen to soft rock on the radio.
So rock.
Yeah, we didn't even have rap stations. So we had before any rap music was ever put on the radio.
Mhm.
I used to listen to the radio and it was all white songs. And I love me some Elton John and the
Well,
whole soft
me
rock of the
too.
80s, all of
Yeah.
that.
I'm universal with
Go-Go's,
what all with the music.
Bangles. Uh,
Bangles, the Go Go's.
yeah, love it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
Love, love,
definitely
love.
familiar with all of that. I'm universal
Yeah.
when it comes to that. Hmm.
So that's why when I say I'm a real connoisseur, plus my father's in a band, my dad is, I come from a plethora of just growing up with men who are in bands and playing the UC theater. So I just run around band baby with two Afro puffs. So I was pretty much a daddy's girl.
Wow.
Um,
Okay.
And
Okay.
my dad, if you go in my house, the whole living room had reel to reels, and it was all equipment and congos and bongos, and he played the guitars, and they had keyboards.
Uh-huh.
They would just sit and jam all day. Give me a
Wow.
sandwich, and I just be
Yeah,
playing with my toys while they
that's
sitting
it.
there,
You
you know.
be chilling, eating your sandwich and
Yeah,
chilling while they
love
doing it.
best childhood ever.
Wow, that's wonderful. That
Yeah.
is. And how do you feel about the 50 years of hip hop concerts, the award shows and ceremonies? I know you have attended some of them, but my next question is,
I'm gonna this is the New York one that I'm.
yeah, you have attended, yeah. And do you think new artists of today should be included in the 50 years of hip hop?
New artist. Hell no. No, I'm just kidding.
Because
Uh,
yeah,
well, I
because
mean, if they're gonna give a tribute, just like when you see Soul Train Music Awards, you see newer artists singing songs of those who paved the way,
well, okay,
right?
it
So
should.
in that way, yes,
What
because
I'm go ahead.
but I feel what you're saying because they're making it all about the people we forgot to mention. That's what it is. Like KRS-One said, he just put this thing on his Instagram. He said, I turned down every offer.
That's
He
right.
said, "Oh, you want to call me now? 50 years of hip hop, when the other 49 years you didn't give a shit, and you want me to come to your show to bring you, people." And he was like, "No, thank you." And
That's
I was
right.
like, "Wow, that is so true. They didn't think about it much. What happened to the 30 year? Because we didn't get a 25 year. We didn't get none of that. So
Nothing.
now all of a
They
sudden,
wait
50 years.
50. Yeah,
But maybe it took that long to really for them to realize that it is a thing, a golden era. We knew that because we started in, but these old white executives, not all of them are white, whatever. But a lot of them, they don't think that way. So do I think they should be included? I mean, why not? Now, if you're honoring people, no. Because if you're 20 years old, what the hell you got to do with 50 years of hip hop? You know what I mean? So
exactly.
then you got the 40 pluses up there. Now you're doing stuff because these people paved the way,
Yeah,
but it's young people and who just kind of took it and ruined a lot of it, to be
that's
honest
right.
with you.
That's right. That's right.
So that's my opinion. But everybody has their own opinion. That's kind of how I feel about it. But I'm happy that they did it. I showed up. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
I'm not like the kind of bitter. Like there's a lot of my peers, not my peers that are direct, but there's a lot of MCs will say that are in their 50s. They're bitter because
Yeah.
number one, and I'm mad about it too. Like we didn't make the money these kids are making, but at the same time, these streams are fucking pennies. I'd much rather sell a CD now. I'd rather go back to that old deal that I had, But I just, I don't know. It's just I don't want to go speaking on that anymore. But
I know.
yeah, I could go on forever.
Yeah, it's all good. You right here. You on A Vision Media Broadcast. You know, um, what is the value of authenticity in hip hop, and how important is authenticity today? How has it changed since the 1970s?
Okay, well, there is none. Start with that. There's
Okay.
dead. It's been deaded, killed, shot, and murdered. So, for example, okay,
That's
I
right.
come from the Bay, right? I
Hmm.
can name 10 artists right now that come from the Bay Area that everybody knows that's blown up.
That's right.
Pyro, Rapping Forte, Crash Daughter. None of us sound alike.
That's
None
right.
of us dressed alike. We got on stage, we did all different things. Nobody sounds alike.
That's right.
So that's authenticity, right? Well, you have your authentic self. Not only that, we didn't look alike either. See now,
That's right.
flash to now, and
That's
I'm
right.
just gonna put this one on all of them. The female MCs, I can't tell one from the other. Okay, they all look alike. They got these eyelashes
Yeah,
doing,
I know. Yeah,
and the lips just,
that's right. Yeah,
and
everything
it's
is
terrible. It's so
Botox. You
fake.
Botox this, Botox that, BBL this. It's
I
crazy.
mean, you done ruined it for everybody now. There's no
Yeah.
guess. There's no secret to a
Mhm.
woman's body now. They just just putting it all out there and eating
Yeah,
booties and stuff. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. I can't believe it. So they're all doing the same thing. So there's no authenticity.
that's
The
right.
guys look the same. They're getting tattoos on their face and wearing the chains.
Yeah.
There's some that are, you don't get J. Cole's every day.
No, you don't.
There's gems that are there, rap cities, and those are gems that are they're there, but they're not the popular ones. I mean, they're popular, but they're not people's idols. Like
Yeah.
I just had a granddaughter. She's one. I'm
Okay.
looking at her like, who is she gonna be looking up to? I for
That's
damn
right.
sure not gonna
That's
let it
right.
be no big booty, dumb, talking about money ass, whatever.
That's right. That's right. That's right. It's sad. It's sad about this generation coming up. Because
No, it's dead. It's my
who,
answer.
yeah, like who do they have to look up to? Like you said, no
Right.
one.
So I'm gonna be at the preschool preaching with my little PowerPoint talking about how hip hop started and how great it was. I don't know. Go to the PTA meeting to tell all the parents to pass, teach their children. I don't know what can you do? I'm one person.
But when you sitting back and you watching stage performances, like you said, BET and all this stuff, when you see those performances on stage, what are your thoughts as looking at the young girls run around half naked on stage? Like, what are your thoughts when you see this stuff?
Well, I mean, it kind of upsets me, but I do want to say I like the music, and they can rap. They can rap
Yeah.
their ass off. There was a long time when I was worried like these females could not rap. These
Mhm.
girls can really rap. That's what I love about it. They're flowing. Um, but you asked me, wait, ask me the question again.
Yeah, like when you see these girls on stage just looking like it's a whole script
Oh,
show, what are your thoughts to that?
well, I feel sorry for them because they're at this point. You're so beautiful. You're so perfect. You have everything, and then these guys get you and they treat you like shit. And then you want to fight, and then you ended up going to jail, and everything is negative and downhill. And
Yeah,
and and then here comes another girl with her ass out that's gonna take your man, and they actually practice wanting to do that to each other.
yeah,
So I'm more concerned about their mental health.
yeah.
So
That's the
these
point.
girls, they have what's important to them is total wrong, totally wrong. They, all they care about is bags and this, that, and the third. Like, fuck a bag. Go get you a house, some education, prepare to, if you have a family, like, it's just, I don't understand why it's so low value.
Yeah,
It's just low value. You're so beautiful, and you just make yourself look worth 2 cents when you show how your attitude is or the decisions that you're making. And so now you don't even. There's so many beautiful women out there now. Well, I call them beautiful because that's how they look when they put all that shit on them helmets on their
yeah.
head. When they take all that shit off, they'd be like, "Oh God, who is that?"
That's right.
You know
You're
what I'm
right.
saying? So
It's sad.
look, this is all authentic right here. My waves are real.
That's
But
right.
anyway, but I'm just saying, like, I'm really worried about the mental health on these young women because they're being abusive, and then they're turning to other women.
That's
So
right.
now they just want to
That's
be
real
with.
big. Yeah, it's real big up here now.
They're like, I don't even want to date guys anymore. I'm just gonna start dating girls. I'm like, it's not that that's a bad thing, but it just seems like the whole cycle that they've created in the 20 to 30-year-olds is horrible. And I don't know where that shit is gonna go, but just keep me away from it because I can't stand. I like the
Yeah.
music though. Some
Hmm.
of them they got some good music. Shit.
Well, I
But
mean, it is some they have lyrics, they do, but it's just like they take away from all of that. You don't hear that because they want you to see something else. So you're trying to pay attention to the lyrics, but then they make you watch something else. It's just a whole. And do you think it's the
we try to
label?
like you, but then here you go doing some dumb
Yeah,
shit.
yeah,
You on TMZ chasing a motherfucker down in a car in a mini skirt with your ass out and some heels and shit on pills and doing
right.
drugs, and that is just the whole scene is a mess. And how does people fix that? Like it's just gonna something that just gotta pray goes away or something plays out. I don't know how it's gonna play
Yeah, you
out,
just
but
got to continue. Yeah, just to pray. And some people don't
yeah,
want
I mean, no disrespect to the artists because they're actually good. I just don't like watching you motherfuckers.
it. Yeah, that's right. It's like wow, like is this what I have to see?
Right.
Also, the group had many collaborations, right? Projects and television appearances. right?
My group, or are you talking about the other people?
No, for you. Did you have any
Oh,
television appearances? I know you on MTV, right?
yeah, yeah, we did. Oh, the
Yeah,
highlight of my life
Rap
was we
City,
did Soul Train.
MTV, Soul Train. Yeah.
We,
What's Soul
we
Train?
met Don Cornelius. We took a picture with Don Cornelius, and we got one photo in that one picture. He was smiling, but it lightweight looked like Carol said, "Oh shit." I said, "What?" She said, "Don Cornelius looked like he got to take a shit." So now every time I see that picture,
You think about that, right?
he was like, he was frowning like, and it's funny. Yeah, I think about that. But that was the big highlight for me to go into Soul Train. And we MBET, Rap City.
Yeah.
And the MTV thing was outside, but and I can't find the video. I gotta contact those people. Like our video, I can't find it anywhere. But the interviews that we did on MTV, and yeah, those are probably the biggest. But mostly meeting people who I admire and trying to act cool. Like being on tour with Outkast and Tribe Called Quest was like, and I have a story about Tribe Called Quest that a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
We had a, those summer jam concerts
Yeah. I
that
remember that.
it's in every city. Like they all
Yeah.
have a summer jam or
I remember
splash
that.
splash.
That's right.
So we had one out here and we performed there with Tribe Called Quest and other people. And so, if when you're performing, they send shuttles to come get you back from the hotel to the venue, from the hotel to the venue. They send the shuttles, right?
Okay.
So the shuttle comes to pick us up. It's almost our time to perform, and so either we're coming or going on the shuttle, and we get out the shuttle or we get to the shuttle, and then we see Karryl look. She said, "Is that Fife?" Like, we
Yeah.
looked
Fine.
over and
Yeah.
Fife Dog, right?
Yeah. Fine.
So he was sitting up against this car, like in the parking lot, and we
Yeah.
couldn't really see. Like he wasn't standing up, like everybody could see him. And the Karryl was like, "Fife, what you doing?" And he was like, he said, "Oh shit," he said, "I ran out of energy or something like that." And because he was a diabetic and
It was.
he didn't take it. I had no idea. So she was like, "Well, what's wrong?" He said, "I know my medicine is in the hotel room. I
That's
got to
what he,
get to the hotel, right?"
that's what he said.
Yeah. So we
Yeah.
had to help him get to his hotel so he can give himself his I don't know what you call it.
It was
Yeah.
the
So
diabetic
we was just sitting
medication.
there. We
Yeah.
was like, "You didn't call nobody." Well, I don't think we had any
Insulin.
cell phones.
Insulin.
I don't think we had cell phones back then. This was
No,
no. I don't think we had no cell
it was
phones.
beepers.
Yeah.
Now some people did have them big phones though. You know the big ones. I
Right,
don't.
Motorola's right, but he wouldn't carry that with him.
Yeah.
While he was by himself, I had no idea. Maybe he just got on the shuttle to go back to the hotel,
Yeah.
and then he had to sit down. I think that's kind of when we came up.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but we just kind of got him there, and then he was like, "No, I'm cool. Like leave, you can leave." So we was like, "Okay, we left." But I'll never forget that. I'm like,
Wow. So that was your moment meeting Fife Dog, right?
"Oh, I met him before that."
Okay.
That we already knew him at that point. Yeah, I had met him before that. And I would go on to see him a couple more times, like later in life, because he moved to the Bay Area. He was living in the Bay Area. I think he was living here when he passed. So he had been here for several years. Him and Ali Shaheed were out here. So, we would see them at shows and stuff like that.
Okay.
But yeah, that was one of the first early times of knowing him. Yeah, because we toured with them. So we would just, hang out here and there like for a little while. But yeah, that was a crazy little scenario right there.
Wow.
It's something that stands out in my mind. There's a lot of things that we did on tour, which is why I want to do this documentary. I have footage I have like some footage where we're in this hotel. Yeah, we're filming at this hotel, and we're walking down the thing, and there go Biggie Smalls standing in the corner like this, just standing there. Nobody know who he is. We're walking by. She's like, "Yeah, we're going to such and such," and I'm like, "Was that Biggie Smalls?" Like just standing and leaning up against the wall.
Yep. Wow.
So I'm looking through all my footage, and there's a lot of little gems in there that I need to share with the world.
Biggie, yeah. So, did you ever have a chance to sit down and talk to Biggie? Like,
One time I met him in Sacramento at backstage at the Arco Arena.
Okay.
He was performing. It was him and I think E40 and some other people. And I walked outside. No, yeah, we walked outside, like to the backstage. There's a little outdoor area where you can This outdoor area. It's like close. It's not quite the parking lot, but it was an outdoor space and it was gated. I think they like store stuff back there, or whatever.
Okay.
So we walked back there, and he was just sitting there talking to Lil Bruce, who is a rap artist from out here.
Okay.
So we started walking over there. It was like, hey, hey. We got down and got to talk to him for about 10 minutes, something like that. So we didn't take no pictures or none of that. We just sat there and enjoyed the moment, and talked to him. And I can't remember what we were talking about, but we had a good old time. That was like the best 10 minutes. I was like, damn, we met Big and Small.
Wow. Wow.
There's so much up here, my photographics that I've been in
Yeah.
places where it's inappropriate to bring out a camera.
I'm quite sure you've been around.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, give me your most memorable moment on tour. You could just think of one great show that you've done that was your most memorable, scene there. And I know
It's gonna be Chicago,
and Chi-Town.
and it's going to be. I don't know what this arena is, but if I explain it, it's hella big. It's probably the biggest arena that I have been in. I don't know, one of the biggest.
Mm-hmm.
It was Ice Cube, Nas, Conscious Daughters, Simply E, Tribe Called Quest, Outkast, and somebody else. It was like 6, 7, 8 groups. And there's this huge area where you walk under. It's a parking garage. It has these huge pillars in it, and it's brick. It's a big old brick building. We had the best time. So we did our concert there, and then we had like a tour. We were leaving that night to go driving, so we drove our tour bus over there.
Okay.
But it was more like a camper.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the big, but it was like a small one.
It was a small, like a camper size.
Yeah, like an RV kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
And so when we were trying to pull out, and we couldn't leave. We were stuck coming out of the parking lot for about almost 2 hours because everybody stood on their car. They didn't leave. They stood in the parking lot and started partying. They was playing music and dancing on the car. I took a video of it. I was like, we ain't never seen no shit like this. Usually we come out the arena and people are leaving. They was just like not going nowhere. Like we was like, we gotta get there. Yeah, but then Karryl was out sitting on the top of the thing because we was going so slow. She was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go sit on the top. So she went and sat on the top of the RV, and we was just kind of slowly inching our way out to the exit. It was a great time. It was people jumping in our RV. We was like, man, it was the greatest time. So that was one of the best because of the audience. The show was great. The lineup was probably one of the best that I've ever done. Wow. And Chicago was great. We went to George's Music Room. Mm-hmm. And that's what the two-step was invented and all that. Uh-huh. And he had a mural of